Okay, we are live. Hopefully my swamp internet doesn't overheat and shut us out of this thing. It's been kind of iffy. No storms, so I should be okay. So
Yeah, we're pretty over here. That's for sure.
well, I wouldn't go pretty. Unless
Good call.
hey, you got a good looking family, so we'll go with that.
Hey,
Um
yeah. Thankfully, they all like my wife.
and it has been a week. It's good to have you back,
Yeah.
Brandon. I know you've been busy working on a lot of different projects.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Man, and here in the tactical pontoon triggerland, we have been busy. We as in me and the dog. He's in here. I got the dog in here. He was here last week. He's laying over on the shop floor.
Nice.
Hey, look at that. We got Steven and we got Stuart in here.
Nice. What's up?
Yes. How you guys doing? How you guys doing? Doing some friends. Joey there, I guess. Only not. Don't look anything like him. Well, actually, I kind of look like him now that he's older and fatter. So
He's
yeah.
pretty gray too.
He is pretty gray. He is pretty gray.
By the way, dude, we need a Gandalf. We need a James McBride Gandalf collab. That's what we really need.
I could see that. You got to be careful. Stuart will come up with a shirt if we're not careful. He'll I could see him making that happen. Speaking of something like that, I gotta get back with your guy on the patches.
Yeah, you do.
It's been a couple weeks since I heard from him. He said we were a go, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he's busy. I know they're a small operation, and being
Game moves, man. They do good work.
Yeah.
I have followed up with them, and then typically what's funny is if I email them, then the very next day they'll be like, oh yeah, it's in the mail today, and it's like, oh shit, now I feel like a dick.
Hey, I did send them an email, but they were having a little bit of family issue. They had something go on in the family the first time I emailed them, because I was like, all right, what's going on? I haven't heard from you in a couple weeks. And then I felt like a jerk.
Yeah.
I was like, well, crap. Okay. I get it. I'm a small business too. So
Yep.
Taking a day off is kind of crazy, but hopefully here before long, I'll have the first patch so that I can okay it and get the run going on the new patches. Cause I'm pretty excited about these. Pretty excited.
I'm excited about them.
Yeah, I mean that card design is it's one of my favorites. It's going to be bigger than the stickers. I went with like 3 I think it's 4 inches and then by like 3 something. So it's going to be bigger than the actual sticker. So it's going to be decent size. Might be a little bit too big for some people if they want to run it on their plate carrier or whatever, but if you're running tactical pontoon on your plate carrier, good luck. It gives horsepower. It does not give agility or up armor. So, yeah.
Nice.
Might give accuracy. It might give accuracy. Oh my goodness. We got Scott in the house. The man who actually started tactical pontoon in a manner of speaking. He did not want a Glock 17. He wanted to keep his Smith & Wesson SD40 VEs. And so he was the one who made the Glock 17 happen for me. So really destroy 453 in there.
Wow.
Yeah. He's truly the man who started the sickness and madness that is tactical pontoon.
He's the captain of the boat.
He is the captain of the boat. Don't tell him that. No. He is not the captain of the boat. We actually want to get somewhere.
Well, at least it's not destroy 454, because I love that motor.
Oh yeah, no, he would love a 454 as well. He's also, it's funny. He is in aviation. We did not meet through aviation, but we did meet through Dodge Neons. He had has a neon. He had a whole yard full of them, just like I did. And
Where'd you guys meet? Plenty of Fish?
neons.org, actually.
Oh my God,
Neons.org.
really?
That was, yeah. He stood up for me. I was getting totally destroyed for my crazy ideas, my cheap ideas back when I was a student and had no money whatsoever, coming up with creative ideas for my car.
Yeah, purists.
Yeah. For some reason, he thought that some of my ideas were interesting, and then we found out that we had aviation in common, and we just became pretty much best friends, for better or worse.
Nice.
He said he's not the captain; he just keeps oil in the engine. Actually, that's about true. When it comes to the maintenance side of things, he actually does that. I just, until they break. That's where I.
Usually, the oil in your engines lasts longer than your car does, so you just end up opening it up, draining the oil out, and starting over again.
Hey, as long as you have a leak, that means you're going to have fresh oil.
Oh, you're cycling.
Just cycling. I'm just cycling it. I'm just cycling the oil.
That's what I keep telling my daughter with her Jeep. It's like, yeah, Jeeps, they drip, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a filtration system.
When it stops dripping, it's out. That's the bad point.
Exactly.
That's the bad point.
Yeah. When you start it and the click doesn't go away, then you need to put oil in it, because the lifter tap for the Jeeps is just it never ends.
Yeah. I've been pretty lucky. I've not had any of the Hemi tap that everybody has had issues with. The 3.6 has been good to me.
3.6? You mean 3.7?
No, newer than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3.6. 3.7 is related to the 4.7, which is originally an AMC engine.
Yeah.
But no, 3.6 is the new dual overhead cam.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Ashland's Commander has a 5.7.
Oh, okay, that's got the Hemi tick.
Yeah, it's a big boy.
Yeah. That's what the challenge.
Yeah, the tick, it's bad. It's just but there's nothing wrong with it. The car's like meticulously maintained.
Well, that could be.
It ticks.
There's a couple different things that can tick on those. One, the injectors are loud to begin with, but it could be an exhaust manifold bolt. Those break.
Yeah, that could be. I'm not going to dig into it.
I wouldn't. It'd be more of a hassle than
no, hell
than
no.
It's worth.
Gorgeous car. She's had it for a little bit now, and it's got like 249,000 miles on it. She's going to drive it into the dirt, and that's about it.
I still want a Commander. I look every so often.
Oh, they're awesome, dude.
I still want one. I want a 4-wheel drive Commander with the Hemi. I do want that. I don't want to do the 3.7 or anything like that. If I'm going to do it, it's going to be the 5.7.
Yeah. The 4.7's not bad. The 3.7 is a dog. And the Commander's so damn heavy. You just can't. I can't even imagine why somebody in the market said, let's put a 3.7 in it, because I can't even imagine. The 3.7 in the Jeep Grand Cherokee that we had years ago was a dog in the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and the Commander's so much bigger.
Oh yeah. And they only had the 4 in those years. They had, I think, the 5-speed automatic. So
5-speed.
Not a lot of gears to go through. You had like an 8-speed. You could get away with it.
Yeah. But no, that 5.7, dude, we just did we just put, in fact, she's got a heavy foot, and on a long drive the other day, she I don't know, for whatever reason, she was coming off the line and somebody had pissed her off, and so she opened it up, and it ended up the back pressure in the exhaust actually caused one of the rusty welds to pop.
Oh no.
And it ripped basically the whole muffler area plus and minus 5 inches on each side was just hanging on the hangers, separated from the rest of the exhaust.
Hey, now it sounds pretty good. No back pressure.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just really funny because it sounded so bad for a little while. And we just got that. So we just got that buttoned up, and she's got like the ram air intake on the 5.7. And so it's like, and it's fully loaded. It's got every option imaginable. We got it from a guy on the west side of the state who bought it new. It came with a folder full of maintenance records.
Oh shit!
It was crazy, meticulously maintained. He bought another one to replace it. And so, this was when he bought the new one, he gave this car to his kid. His kid decided that he wanted a truck. So they decided to sell this and then take the money and go get a truck for his son. And so, I mean, it is what it is. They're nice cars.
Yeah. I
highly recommend it.
I've always liked the look of them. My Grand Cherokee's been good to me. I actually, there was a newer Grand Cherokee, like a 2014, 2016 at a dealership. And, we've got my fiance drives the little Renegade, and, it's been good to us, but I saw that Grand Cherokee and the price was pretty decent. I was thinking, might trade that in. And it's funny because it's actually the dealership that I bought this Grand Cherokee. And I hopped out, I looked at it, I jumped back in, and I got onto the road, and I got a text message from the salesman.
Love you.
I love you too.
Little Papa John's. I'm going to eat on the pot today.
Do it. Eat.
I haven't had anything since breakfast.
Go ahead. So of course the salesman shoots me a text message. Hey, was that you I just saw? Looking at that Grand Cherokee. I'm like, maybe, but I don't think we're gonna trade it in. I need to do some work on the little Renegade, throw some motor mounts in it, and charge the AC and let it run another 100,000 miles. But
definitely,
yeah, it's paid off.
Yeah,
like,
and that's what you said. 2012.
28. Which one? The Renegade.
The Jeep Grand that you have.
I have a 2012, and then her little Renegade is 2018, and it's they're both basically paid off. So
beautiful. Yeah. So funny story. So Ashland's Commander, she needed tires pretty badly. And so when we had the exhaust done, I had everything squared away, and she was like, okay, well, Dad, if you can find a set of black rims, since her car's all black.
Yeah.
And so she had the chrome wheels because it's a limited. And I said, she's like, oh, if you can find black wheels, I've always wanted it to have black wheels.
Yeah.
And so, the Commander is a 5x5 lug pattern. And I was like, okay, I'll look, because the Wranglers have 5x5, some of the Grands have 5x5. And so I start looking around. This guy has a set of wheels, and I'm like, oh crap, these are really nice. And he's like, yeah, they're 5x5. I drive down there, go grab them. They need tires, so I grab a set of tires to go along with them.
Yeah.
And I go to have them put on. Oh no, they're 5x5.5, which is what the Renegade is.
Oh shit.
And so that's Renegade, the Compass, and the Liberty. No. The Cherokee, the Compass, the Cherokee, and the Renegade are all the 5x5.5.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, well, fuck, that sucks. And then the very next day, a guy, it was about an hour away from here, but that's nothing because we live in the area we live in. But he was like, yeah, I just took these off my Wrangler. They were 32s on black Wrangler rims. And it was like, yeah. I told him, that they were for my daughter, and he had them listed for like $300 or something like that. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you what, you can have them for $100 if you come and get them today.
Oh, shit.
I was like, shit. All right, I'm on my way.
I'll be right there.
So needless to say, yeah, her Commander got pretty much set up the other day. So got the exhaust on, brakes, rotors all the way around, and her rims and tires, which had wheel sensors in them too, which made it. All I had to do was just put them on. They were mounted, balanced.
Oh yeah. They'll automatically. Yep.
So
I don't want to talk wheel sensors. I'm so tired of fighting wheel sensors. On the Challenger, I have one wheel sensor that works, or one tire pressure sensor that works. One. I have changed them every time that I've had new tires put on. I've had they upsell me, and I've changed them, and I have one. It's been a year and a half, and I have one that works. The rest of them are dead. So of course, every time I turn the car on, it tells me that I have wheel sensors that are dead. It's like,
Oh yeah.
it's like, can I turn that? Can I turn that off? You can't. It's a safety. I mean, I'm sure there's a way somewhere along the line, but not with the current tools that I have.
Yeah.
So the Challenger is, we got one wheel. I'm so tired. Like my 2011 Challenger I had the older style wheel sensors that always were giving me trouble. That one gave me trouble all the time. And then once I got to 2017, it did pretty well. But now that it doesn't get driven very often, it's like those sensors die out.
Yep.
Like all the time. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't drive it enough. I'll just cycle through it once it comes on. But
yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, cars. I'm so far behind on car stuff. Between the heat and just not being there mentally after getting so busy here in the shop, I just my car stuff is kind of like stuff. But my little green car is alive, so at least I get to drive that every once in a while.
There you go.
When they're not tearing up the goddamn roads around here, they're fucking repaving the roads, and they're not that bad.
No, they're doing the same thing here, but they're terrible.
These weren't that bad, but I guess they had some extra money. They got to spend it. So
yeah,
they're spending it and tearing up the roads, which means as low as that car is, I can't really drive it very much.
Yeah.
So, and it's no AC, which, you know, I don't carry a purse, so I'm good. I'm good, but it's hot. It's hot, and I get sweaty. I get sweaty.
Yeah, you took it out for weight, right? Didn't you pull the AC out for weight?
Yeah. Weight. I pulled so much shit out of that thing. It's basically like a little rattle trap. I was basically just kind of going for a time attack car that I can drive on the streets. So
yeah,
there's not much in there. So
yeah,
it's a rattle trap. My other one will be nicer if I ever finish it. It's like I have stuff to do. You saw the hood. I painted that in the dry spray, and I thought maybe I could save it, and it just, I got to paint it with an actual gun.
Dry spray is tough. Yeah, you can't really get over it unless you have a really good layer of paint underneath it, and then you dry spray over top of it.
Yeah, and then take it down.
Yeah.
Well, I thought, because I did a really good job on the spoiler, I thought, you know what? With these new spray cans that have an actual nozzle.
Yeah, the turbo, right?
Yeah,
turbo cans?
Yeah. It's like, it works really good. I thought, okay, I can do this with the hood. I did a really good job on the spoiler. Let me do the hood. And the black laid out pretty good. There's some orange peel, but that really had to do with the temperature and humidity.
Yeah.
And laying that clear down, like as soon as it started laying down, I'm like, that is not right. That's dry. That is just dry. So then I just laid it on thick. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe it'll, maybe it'll lay out.
Yep.
And it didn't. Like it
I've
didn't.
been there.
It is a shiny piece of shit. Like, it's shiny from a distance. It looks beautiful. Yeah. It actually looks amazing.
What is it? Like a 10-foot or a 20-foot?
I'm going to go 15, 10 to 15. Like, if I put it on the car right now, it would actually be probably the nicest paint on that car. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, which is.
Did you already like clay bar and clean up the outside and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's as good as it's going to get.
That's as good as it's going to get. Now it's all dusty from sitting, but like, that's going to be the nicest paint already. So like, it's just sad because now I gotta sand it back off and redo it, and I'll do a paint gun and all that stuff. So I might actually do the entire car.
Might as well.
I might as well just do the entire car. And I got so much other stuff to do right now. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I had some good motivation, and I was going in the right direction before I took some time off. Like, I've got the engine in, I've got a lot of it buttoned up. and like motivation wise, I'm just not there right now. And as hot as it is, I'm like, okay, if I jump in there and I start working on it, I'm gonna rush things, and I don't need to rush things.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't, the last thing you want to do is do it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you know, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, man, those cars that are already done for like $12,000 are looking better and better. And that $2,000 investment that I was like, man, I'm gonna save so much, and you know, I'll spend the time to build this car back up. And I'm like, God, what have you done, James? You like doing this, but do you actually like doing this? Are you good at doing this?
Yeah. So we have that excursion.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Same concept, right? Mechanically beautiful,
Uh-huh.
lovely truck.
Yeah.
Interior wise, a little dirty, could stand to be detailed and cleaned.
Yeah.
But exterior wise, cosmetically, just a lot of rust. And it's just the body panels and rockers and stuff like that are just really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be cut out, put some new rockers in, maybe some rear quarters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Prime it up, paint it. But if you're going to do that, you might as well do the whole thing, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Same concept. So we have it. I have all the stuff I need.
Mm-hmm.
And I even have a spot, which is tough to find a spot that you can paint an excursion.
I was gonna say, especially for an excursion.
It's like 22 feet long or some fucking shit like that.
And like 17 feet tall compared to me.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah.
So that's why I was telling you about that Iwata gun that I have. Because I mean, that thing's got like it's got a huge cup on it. It'll spray fucking everything, you know. And that's actually why I got it. So back when we had the shop and we were doing Cerakote work, I used to have a couple of guys that would come in and bring automotive parts. And our paint booth was 16 feet wide, 8 feet deep. You know, so a bumper or a grill or even a tailgate or something like that, we could totally do. So did a bunch of grills, like paint match grills and stuff. And, you know, it's really not that bad. Ton of prep work involved, you know, and then, you know, but if your prep work is good, then you're good to go.
Prep is the biggest part of all of that painting. I mean, seriously. I mean, if I can't tell you know inside and out compared to myself. So hey, we have Steph, the 5th gen queen in. She's one of the newest Tactical Pontoon. I guess you'd call her influencer. She's got some badass Cummins diesels.
Okay. So we're talking 5th gen Rams.
5th gen Ram. She has a 5th gen Ram and she has a 2nd gen Ram that I am going to go steal from her.
Nice. Okay.
Oh yeah. So if I shoot you a message and say we're going to Colorado, we're going to steal the 2nd gen. 5th gen's nice. 2nd gen's my style. So
the 2nd gen's nice. I do like me a 2nd gen.
That's literally that's the truck. I mean, I remember when they came out with that design of those trucks. Like, I was a little kid. My dad, you know, he was excited about them. It imprinted on me. And so, I mean, that's
2nd gen. 2nd gen is what was it? 94.
94. Well, 93 was actually the very start was 93.
But was it a 93 model year or was it a 94 model year?
I think it was a 94 model year, and they launched them in 93. There was a lot that went on in 93 for Dodge. That's when they were coming back out. You know, you had Viper was big. You know, that first launched in 93. So there was a lot going on in the early 90s, and you know, Dodge took it over in the late 90s. So, but that, go follow her if you haven't. That's literally 5th gen queen is, and then tactical_Steph is where she posts all of her gun stuff. So
nice.
But the prep work. Oh my goodness, man. That's prep work, and then keeping bugs and dirt and dust and everything off of
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's huge, right? So having a positive pressure paint booth, in some way, shape, or form, and that can be done a bunch of different ways. If you want help with that, there's a lot of DIY ways that we can knock that out.
That would be, when I get to that point on that car, I definitely am going to hit you up because,
yeah,
I mean, I have a good idea having, we had the paint booth at work. We had several different paint booths, and then we had to do some like emergency paint booths out on the flight line.
Yeah.
So I have a good understanding of it, but I will definitely ask you some questions because there's some nuances that obviously I don't know. So
yeah,
we got Desert Tactical Dave. Dave is in the house.
nice.
It's good, man.
The family is growing.
The family is growing. It's good to have a family like ours. We try to have a cohesive family.
Oh God, the non-blood family that I have is way more important than the blood family outside of my nucleus, right?
Be safe when you got to be careful.
Oh yeah, no, the wife. Anybody who knows me knows that my wife and kids, they come before me. I mean, and so like that, those six, us six, that just nothing breaks that. But outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot of family that we deal with or conversate with on a regular basis. So the non-blood family in that sense is way more important to me than anybody outside of my home.
I completely understand. I've been very fortunate to grow, quite a family in the industry compared to, I did the auto stuff. That's an interesting. It's probably changed some since then, but what I have here in the firearm and Glock industry is definitely. I've made some really cool friends.
Yeah,
made an enemy or two, made a Charles or two.
Hey, if you're not doing that, I don't think you're doing anything.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true. I obviously I stay somewhat busy. I know you stay busy as well. If you don't upset and ruffle a feather or two, then you're not doing something.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of people in a lot of spots, a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of different yes men, yes women that end up kind of just, being in the middle of the pack. And you're bound to have those people no matter what. And those people, they're great for that thing. It's just, sometimes, and I'm not trying to be derogatory, but sometimes those people, they say, oh, well, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You should do this, you should do that. And, I get to the point where I'm like, you don't, I don't see you doing anything. It's hard for me to take your opinion seriously if you're telling me from the sidelines what to do. It's that backseat driver mindset. I don't really jive with that.
Yeah, it's like we can all give opinions and advice.
Sure.
That maybe we think would work, but unless you've actually been there doing it and living it, that advice really isn't worth a whole bunch. And don't get me wrong, there are people that are great thinkers and are very smart and may never actually be able to do it, but they can give good advice and bring you guys, and so there are going to be those people, but there's also those ones that just want to see the world burn because they think, what we got here? We got AR-15 lower parts kits. Are they all generally the same when it comes to quality? I'm gonna leave this one's actually more. I feel you have more AR-15 experience than I do.
Yeah. So, all right. Mil spec quality parts. Okay. When you're talking about mil spec minimum requirement, right? That means that will it work? Yes. Will it hold up for a minimum amount of rounds? Yes. When it comes to, quality, and that's obviously very subjective as well. the James would talk about this too, like trigger quality. A BCM PNT trigger that comes in their lower parts kit is going to be a hell of a lot better than your average mil spec trigger that comes in a Delton tactical kit or a PSA kit. The quality of a Geisley lower parts kit, if they have like an SSA trigger, that's a big difference between that and like a general mil spec. If you're talking about just mil spec, though, a lot of times they're all manufactured even in the same places. There's a ton of private white labeling going on in the industry, and so it's hard to differentiate the ones that are just your run of the mills. When you get into a lot of people call it mid tier, BCM, Geisley, forward control design, a lot of those kits, there is a substantial difference, whether it be materials, whether it be quality control, whether it be design aesthetics, stuff like that. There's definitely some differences, but
mil spec is a minimum. They have to fall within a certain range of call it strength or endurance or durability, and then obviously your sizings that say whether it's going to function with one another.
Yeah,
and it has to meet at least a bare minimum. It's kind of like when they're on the movie. They're talking about how they're about to launch into space, and we're like, we're in the lowest bidder. The I'm going off track, but anyways, it has to meet at least that bare minimum to be mil spec.
Yeah,
and no better per se.
Yeah.
Whereas some of your higher end, or call it mid tier, like your BCM, they're probably going to hit at least the middle of that spec or the top of that spec to before they release it under their name. And you also have to look at the customer service that you might get if you have an issue.
Yeah, huge. I mean, that's really important for me as well. I'll say this: if I build an AR, when we built ARs for the shop years ago, we would typically buy a non FCG lower parts kit from a couple different places. A lot of it depends on takedown springs takedown pins. Whether you have a drilled and tapped receiver for the takedown pin springs, stuff like that, bolt carrier or bolt stop, that kind of stuff. Some of those are proprietary, so some of them come with it, some of them don't. You can kind of piecemeal some really good pieces together and then find yourself a good trigger. A lot of times when it comes to detent springs, all of that stuff, the little tiny parts, none of that shit really matters. I'll be completely honest. When it comes to takedown springs, when it comes to bolt stop springs, when it comes to mag release springs, roll pins that are going in the lower for the trigger guard, dumb shit like that, nothing really matters. No, they're all made mostly by the same place or places. And then really it's about, do you want extended takedown pins? Do you have a drilled and tap receiver for your takedown detents? And do you want a fancier trigger? The BCM PNT is one of my favorites. I like the ALGs for single stage. I love the LaRue MBT, are fantastic whether you go curved or straight for those. Those are all good. All of them are great. Of course, Geisley triggers are fantastic. Precision gas guns, I typically go with Wilson Combat. I like the TTU M2 triggers for those. It's the only drop-in that I would ever even recommend. The rest of them are kind of trash.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, Thing is, I'm pretty decent with G19 clones. Just dipped into my first AR build ever, trying to get as much knowledge as possible. If you need anything at all, reach out, ask anyone. Will from Head Canoe is fantastic. He's built a lot of stuff. I've built a lot of stuff. Be more than happy to help you. Feel free to reach out or ask any questions here too. I've done so many of these. It's crazy. And there's different tailoring that you can do from all kinds of perspectives. You know, I'll do whatever I can to help.
You know what? It reminds me, you're talking about putting together an AR. The very first video that never got released on Tactical Pontoon was me putting together a lower assembly, or a lower for an AR-15. The very first video that was supposed to go up for Tactical Pontoon, way before Glock triggers, like early, like dipping my feet in the water. And it's so embarrassing. I have it saved somewhere on one of my laptops. It's pretty bad. It's extremely
You really need to release these.
I may do it.
You need to.
I may do it. And it's really, really, really bad. And it took way too long. And I know I scratched up the receiver when I was putting the bolt catch.
The bolt catch detent.
Yeah, I know I taped it up. It was my second receiver of all time. And I thought I did such a good job. Or it was the second or third. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. And it was not a good video. Go for it.
Okay.
Jump in there.
CMC. Okay. I get confused. What is Desert Tactical? Is that, what's his name?
Dave.
Okay. Dave, listen to me. CMC is hot fucking garbage. Please don't use a CMC trigger. Don't use a velocity. Don't use cassette triggers as a whole. Please don't. They are fucking trash. And I say that with the most love, my man. Trust me on that. You'll end up having a failure. One way, one way or another, you'll end up having a failure. Not to mention the pins. The pins will walk. You'll end up having anti-walk pins and all. It's just not necessary. CMC's trash. Velocity's trash. Rise armament's trash. Cassette triggers in general are trash. Please don't buy them. This has been a PSA from your man Brandon. Love y'all. Don't buy cassette triggers. They're fucking garbage.
I'm gonna tend to agree with him on all that. The CMC stuff. Again, my experience with AR-15s is just messing around, shooting a couple. The CMC trigger feels decent. If you've not experienced any of the others, it is the reason why I bought my very first CMC Glock trigger. This was right before Tactical Pontoon got started. The CMC Glock trigger came out, and that was literally the biggest pile of crap that I had ever played with. And they've gotten worse. They've actually gotten worse. Joseph C., can you go into detail about the Heisenberg trigger for EDC? Okay. There is I have got the Heisenberg daily system, which is the EDC trigger. It is my competition system, which is the extra modifications that I do to the geometry of the trigger bar. Only I keep it around a 4-pound break, give or take, depending on the way you've set yours up. Built for EDC. So instead of the 3.5 pound break for the Heisenberg competition, you get all of that in the Heisenberg daily with about 4-pound break. It's got the over travel stop. It's got the modifications to the geometry of the trigger and the connector for an extremely quick reset and an extremely clean break. Like it is the EDC trigger. If you're gonna spend the money and you want like my work for your EDC, the Heisenberg daily is the way to go. So
can't argue with that.
That's
can't argue with that.
That's kind of that's the detail without, and then you've got what I have on the website, which kind of goes into a little bit more detail.
If you're a seasoned shooter and you train a lot and you're confident with your firearm, the competition is a hell of a trigger. The daily is hard to beat, but the competition,
Yeah,
if you're confident, that's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And what I did to break those apart, like overall, they're basically the same system. It just came down to weight. Everything is the same between those. Where the difference goes is you've got your Peacemaker, which are my drop-in systems. They're more basic. They took all of my knowledge that I had in building my competition triggers, and I said, what works best, and how can I bring something into the start of the market, okay, for a drop-in system. Then you've got the Heisenberg systems are my work. That is my bread and butter. It's what I'm known for. It's my true basic trigger, if you will. That's what I'm known for. And then you've got up top, you've got the Leonidas, which has everything and then some. So Peacemaker is my drop-in. That's components that I know work really well together, along with, customer service and just overall, they work, and they work really well, and they're going to beat any of the other drop-ins in the market. Then you've got Heisenberg. Heisenberg is tactical pontoon. Like if you want the tactical pontoon experience, Heisenberg is where you step into it. Then Leonidas, if you're like ready to go, like if you want the best Glock trigger that there is imaginable, you got Leonidas. So,
and it is insane.
It's
all right, so I have a couple questions that have backed up a little bit. All right, so Steph wants to know billet lowers versus cast lowers and why. And let's see. And then oats versus grits. First off, oats are great. Grits are disgusting, in my opinion.
I'll go with oats. Yeah.
I lived in the South for a little while, coastal North Carolina. Did grits every which way you could try to figure it out. Never liked them ever. I'll go oats all day long.
Yeah.
As far as lowers go, I agree with Will to an extent. I think billet is definitely a higher quality from the factory, and the QC that's done on those is typically not, there's no issues coming out of the factory with those. There's also, there's some other stuff that ends up happening there, the proprietary stuff and all of that kind of goes along with it. I'm not really a big fan of, unless it's some ambidextrous stuff. I really like the ambidextrous lowers in some cases. Sometimes they can be a little overbearing. There's too much going on, too over the top. In that case, typically, I mean, when you're talking about just performance-wise, a forged lower and a billet lower will do the same, as long as you know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. As long as you understand if there's an out of spec lower and what it looks like and how it reacts and how it builds and things to look out for, then there's really only a couple. There's two modifications that I like to do. One of them is I mean, it's a little different for me because I mill a slot on the backside for the I like the ambi bolt catch. There's an ambi bolt catch that you can do just a little slot with a mill, and then you mill out a little spot on the side, and then you have ambi bolt catch, which I really like to have. And then the only other part that I like to do other than that is I like a winter trigger guard. I like a larger trigger guard for shooting with gloves. But billets, sometimes you don't get the option when it comes to that because it's all one piece. The trigger guard is what it is. A lot of times it's milled oversized for people with shooting with gloves. So that's not a problem. A lot of times they can be non they can be non traditional or non-standard. They can be mil spec parts that fit into it, but the usage and the geometry of the lower can cause you to have to manipulate those controls differently, given the lower. And so sometimes I don't like that shit to deal with that. I tell people traditionally if you can get a good quality forged lower, you really won't have a problem as long as you deal with like a high quality forged lower, because then they do the QC on their end. But billet lowers, in general, there's definitely some cool stuff that's done. I mean, radians are nice. Shit. But I mean, you look at BCM, you look at Geisley, you look at Knight's Armament, they're forged.
Yeah. I think to sum it up, if you're going to build a race gun, something pretty, billet. If you're going to beat on it and throw it around in the mud, a high quality forged is kind of the way to go. And there's going to, like you said, there's going to be different. Had a little blip in the service there. And then as Joseph, yes, all of my triggers retain all of the safeties. All of the safeties from Glock are in there. Let's just say I've been down that road before. Thank you, Ranger Proof. And then you Timney Alpha in your Glock 17. I'm sorry. Well, I think we can have a better experience than that Timney. But that's just
Timney. Oh God, Timney Glock triggers are fucking terrible.
Yeah, well, they put a lot of effort in their marketing for those. But yeah,
Joseph, you're going to be a happy fucking dude. You need to buy a tactical pontoon trigger like right away, and then sell the Timney, and then tell everybody how bad it is when you get the tactical pontoon trigger and realize it.
That's not coming for me. He does not work for me.
Nope.
I can't afford him. I can't afford him.
A lot of people don't know this. I have a whole shit ton of tactical pontoon triggers. I used to run and own a custom gun shop for years. Thousands of guns come through the shop all the time, doing all kinds of stuff. And I've tried every trigger imaginable, dealt with tons of guns, dealing with all kinds of stuff. And the reason why James and I are friends is because we started chatting about the quality of his triggers. And it just so happened he won a competition, a little giveaway thing that we were doing within a small group. Yeah. And him and I started talking about Cerakote, because that's what I did, Cerakote on a slide for him. And it was like, oh shit, like you're the tactical pontoon guy. This is ridiculous. And so like I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I have firsthand experience, and everybody that I know has firsthand experience with their with tactical pontoon triggers, and they're insanity. And I refuse to not let people know that.
I definitely appreciate that. Maybe you make it sound a little better than it is, but I'll accept it. Steph asked, going to stay doing Glock triggers only. I actually do. I do an HK VP9 trigger. I got started in that one before I got really busy on Glocks. Do I have I may occasionally I do P10 P10C triggers or P10 triggers for the CZ. I get questioned quite a bit. It's odd for FNs. The FN 507s or 509s or whatever they are. I get asked about those. And then the M&P series. I don't know what my next one may be. I thought about there for a while, maybe stepping into the 2011 market. I don't know yet. I'm kind of staying away from that right now, just because I know if I dive headfirst into the 2011 market, like anything else I do, I can get obsessed. So I'm thinking about it. The high point competition, already been there, already done that.
Do I have a high point tactical pontoon trigger? Because I have the gun fu high point.
You do.
Did you do trigger work on that gun, or was that Dave?
I didn't do trigger work on that gun. I came in late on that whole. It was almost wrapped up when I came into the group. That one was almost wrapped up, but maybe you could send it to me and I'll work some magic on it.
That's a guarantee. Everybody heard that, right?
If you send it, I will work. I will work on it. Okay.
Yes.
So you can send it to me. Nobody else send me your high point. Okay. Nobody else. Don't send me your high point. Don't send me your grandpa's M&P. Don't send me your Ruger. Definitely don't send me your FN. Don't send me your gun. This is a
tactical yeet cannon.
Tactical yeet cannon. But right now I'm not sure. I looked at the Echelon Jimenez. I have put together my neighbor's Jimenez that he lost. I lost a part off of it. He was having some feed issues, and then I lost a part I had to get. But right now, I don't know on the what the next tactical pontoon trigger will be, Steph. So too late sending my VP9. Hey, it makes a difference. The VP9 is not a bad trigger, but when I'm done with it, it's pretty.
I could use some VP9 work.
Well, I'm not an FFL. Let me stop everybody there. I am not an FFL, so that because I would never get anything else done. But you know, and they've been messing with some people, so I definitely, it's not currently in my future.
The ATF doesn't even exist anymore because of Chevron deference.
Oh yeah, that's true. What a weird time in this world we're in.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
I'm not going to get too far off onto.
Yeah, the political side of things. Yeah, that can get a little messy.
Yeah, my internet shows that it's we're good now, but it looked like we had a bloop. So we had a bloop.
A bloop.
I'm going to call it a bloop. But so I don't know what the next thing is going to be. Steph, I'll get your VP9 hooked up. It's worth it. Take some pictures of it. It'll be great. But send your second gen with it. I'm just even trade.
I love it.
After seeing her truck, it's got me. I'm bad enough on Facebook Marketplace as it is, but I've been looking at more Dodges. It's like I need another vehicle. It's like
you know what's great is at some point in time, you could sell some and get one really nice truck.
There's that. But I also have, I've got other cars I want to. There's so many things I want that I'll never drive. That's the other part of it. Signed and ready for you. All right. Looks like I got a second gen. Sweet.
Nice.
Boom.
Good deal.
I'll just have her drive it since I don't drive any of my vehicles. I haven't drove the Challenger in like a week and a half or more. Like, why? I need to get out. I need to get out of the house more.
I drive my Chevy Traverse more than you drive your Challenger. It's ridiculous.
I do drive my Grand Cherokee a lot. Now that I've got it back, I was missing that with the headlight fiasco, man. And now I've got a driving light that's out on that Grand Cherokee, and even though and a turn signal. It's like I just had the whole front end apart. The whole front end apart, and now a turn signal goes out, and I've got to get inside you know, with
Is it one of those that you have to take off the inner wheel well and then dig your
no,
hand in there?
no,
Oh,
no, you got to go from up top. You either have to go from up top and like one, you got to be taller than I am. So that means I got to stand on something. And then like I wish I had stick arms so I could get into around, and it's like
looks like you're
was
trying to
just
deliver
there.
a baby.
It felt like I was delivering a baby. I've never delivered a baby, but I feel like that maybe, I don't know. I'm not gonna, if that's what it's like, that just might put me in a weird place. I don't know. That's a weird. I feel like if that's what delivering a baby feels like, that's just not worth the time. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, car trouble. I'm looking on Marketplace for things I don't need. I've looked at Skylines, like
Ooh.
I've looked at not a GTR. I can't even begin to afford a GTR. You're looking at like $80,000, $75,000.
You're looking at like R32s?
I'm looking at 32s. I'm looking like a
Ooh.
GTM. I like the 32 better, to be completely honest.
I like the 32 as well.
32 is the way to go. I don't get me wrong, I would take a 34. I can't afford a 34. I've looked at those because, like, I want a Viper. Okay, I do want a Viper.
You just need to just sit back and just wait for one.
I know. That's why I haven't bought anything yet. Like, I want one, but what I can afford right now is more of a pain in the butt than it already is when it's in good shape. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I can't afford that, my brain's like, well, maybe get an older vet. You can get and then it's like, you don't want that.
Like, what do you mean by older though?
Well, like anywhere from like, call it 97 up to like 2013, 2014. Like, it's weird.
Gen 5, Gen 6.
Gen 6, yeah, Gen 5, Gen 6. There's such a wide range of prices on Vipers or vets, depending on how bad they've been tortured. Which
always.
Yeah.
I've my dream car for a long time has been like a I want a Gen 6 Z06.
Okay. That's
and I don't know why, but
okay.
the Gen 5s, when they changed over to the Gen 5s in 97, I liked the body style change. I hated the Gen 3s.
Okay.
They were terrible in my opinion. So
the early ones were beautiful. 70s were bad, like mid 70 on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the 68, 69.
69.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Gorgeous. Yeah,
beautiful.
So and then the fours, the Gen 4s are awful.
So
dogs.
hit or miss for me. So hit or miss.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, see, because of the horsepower, I can't deal with them. I don't like them.
I don't. Yeah.
You're never gonna leave.
You're never gonna leave. What I'm looking for is something I can cruise. Also, like, I want power, but I also just kind of want to cruise it. I got stupid power.
Yeah, but a 350. Like,
I know. That's why I kick myself for looking at a vet. I'm like, you're not going to be happy. Don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, okay. All right. LS1, like LS motors. All right. Now we're talking, like, those are cool. They're a little cooler.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when they changed over in I think it was 2005 was the last year. And I think 2006 was the first year of the Gen 6, but then the Z06 came out in 07, I believe.
Yeah.
That car, my father-in-law is a big vet guy. His best friend had an 08 Z06, and we had just started the business, and he sold it. He wanted to sell it. And my father-in-law was like, yeah, hey, do you want this? He knew I didn't have the fucking money, but it was like, damn, I really liked it. They're just, for me, it's like that quintessential sit in, and I love old classics are like my favorite by far, but there's something about getting in a car, it just being seats and an engine, and just fucking letting her rip.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to like Will's 71 CUDA, I mean, of course, a 440 71 CUDA, or I mean, like the 70 or 69 Chevelle.
Oh yeah.
I would love a 70 or a 71 split bumper Camaro. Like there's so many cars, classics that I would love. The problem is that I can't buy it and drive it the way I want to drive it.
Yeah.
I would feel bad because I would lessen the value over time. So it would have to be like an Olds 442, like something like that. I could do like a 72 or a 73 Chevelle.
Just buy a 2002 Ford Crown Victoria. You drop make a those are cheap, by the way. I look at all that stupid crap too.
Yeah,
it's a sickness, but yeah, no, that Z06 would be a beautiful cruiser. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well, especially Will says if I put mud tires on it, it'd be a lot cooler. But
there you go. I don't know that I'm that cool though. We all know that I'm not that cool. That's why for me the Viper would be something I basically leave alone. Like it would just be to have it because I know that I don't have the money to make it insane. Like it's just one of those looks car. It's the
Cooper convertible.
If you had asked me 10 years ago, it would have been an RT10, but nowadays it's the GTS. It would be the coupe. It would be the coupe. Yeah. But those are the ones that are more expensive. Like
to me, it's the only way to go.
It is the way to go. It is the way to go. So until I can actually afford that, I have actual Viper seats in the new Neon. So I'm practically.
Do you?
Yeah, I found a set of actual Viper, not reproduction Viper seats, not the newer style Viper seats that came in those cars, but actual Viper RT10 seats from like a 97 Viper that I've adapted to that car. So nice. At least I got the seats. But I know you've got a hard out at 8, at the hour mark. So I'm going to jump off here as well. We talked a little bit about guns and we talked a lot about cars, and that's an okay thing on Work Harder Weekly.
For sure.
Yeah. The old Tactical Pontoon live streams, it's supposed to all be about guns, but we change it up around here. We talk about a little bit of anything.
For sure.
So
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So it looks like next week I'll be driving a 2nd gen diesel, and I just got to fix up a VP9.
And Steph will have a VP9 trigger.
Yeah. Fair trade, especially putting in that VP9 trigger.
Can you really put a price on the VP9 trigger? Like it's not available out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's priceless, especially one that I put in. Practically priceless.
Exactly.
All right, everybody. We'll catch you next week. We'll do this again, and maybe there'll be something interesting going on in the gun world that we can talk about.
Who knows?
All right. Catch you guys later.
See you guys.